This AMA is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose.
Welcome back, everyone, to our ABCC's podcast. This time around, we have an AMA with MUX Protocol. They were formerly known as MC Dex, Monte Carlo Dex. It's me again here, Marcus, the Business Development Manager of ABCC Exchange, and we have Alan again with us.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be back.
And we also have Jaden. Jaden is the Head of Business Development of MUX Protocol.
Yeah, hi everyone. Glad to be here.
Okay, so Jaden, maybe you can share a little bit about MUX Protocol and what does the project, just some introduction on your project.
Yeah. So I think just a bit of background about myself. I'm Jaden, Head of Business Development at MUX Protocol. At MUX Protocol, we recently launched our version 4. And during this version 4, we rebranded from MC Dex to MUX Protocol. So essentially, MUX Protocol is a multi-chain native leverage trading protocol where our users can trade up to 100 times in leverage. And currently, we are deployed on 4 chains, namely Arbitrum, BNB Chain, Avalanche, and Phantom.
Okay, thank you. Can you give us a bit more insight into the project and the motivation behind your project?
Yeah, sure. So, founded in 2019, MCDEX has been one of the vanguards to explore leverage trading in DeFi. So, from version 1 to version 3, essentially MCDEX has been continuously innovating on AMM with leverage trading, capital efficiency optimization, and seamless trading experiences. So, last year we actually launched our version 3. And we accomplished several key milestones, such as reaching a cumulative volume of 7.2 billion in US dollars and attracted more than 5,000 users. However, during the course of launching version 3, we identified some room for improvement along the way. And some of the learnings that we have learned from version 3 has guided us to build a more trader-friendly, efficient, and self-sustainable DEX. And after months of building, designing, and fine-tuning, we are just thrilled to have launched MCDEX V4, which is MUX Protocol, as mentioned.
That's really great. So from my understanding, previously you were all known as MC Dex, right? But now it's rebranded to MUX Protocol. Can you explain what's the reason behind this?
Yeah, that's a good question, Alan. So we actually rebranded to MUX Protocol as we wanted to focus on being a multi-chain native leverage trading protocol. And the word multiplexing, abbreviated as MUXing, is actually a telecommunication term. And it means combining various signals into one composite signal through a shard medium, aiming to share valuable resources. So based on this concept, MUX dynamically shares liquidity across multiple utilization routes, including on-platform margin trading and third-party DEX mining. So this all in all seeks to significantly increase the utilization rate of capital on the platform.
That's awesome. I think the potential around what you guys are doing is actually immense. And I also read that like you mentioned, that there's a recent successful launch on your side for the V4 protocol. What are the improvements over the previous version, which was the V3?
Yeah. So first and foremost, I think for V4, traders can actually use MUX Protocol to trade with zero price impact, up to 100 times leverage, with zero spread on blue chip assets and no counterparty risk. And I would say the most important improvement is actually that liquidity on MUX will be multiplexed between margin trading and third-party DEX mining, So essentially achieving a high utilization rate of pooled assets, which, in our point of view, is very important, especially during a bear market. Thirdly, MUX actually unifies liquidity depths across all the networks, meaning all the four chains that I mentioned before, and thus becoming the first multi-chain native trading protocol. And the last improvement is actually with regards to our tokenomics. So our tokenomics model leverages on the V model and brings in protocol income sharing. So essentially, our VMUX holders and MUX LP stakers can actually earn protocol fees and also mining rewards.
Okay. Okay, that's great. I think the staking and the mining rewards part is actually definitely very attractive. We do have a lot of people, asking us on is there a possibility of questions coming? Is there possibility of what you have just mentioned on the income sharing part? And when you have just mentioned this, I think it's absolutely awesome. So in this case, on to the next part, the next question. How does your partnership with Seller Network, which I've seen as well recently, how does it actually contribute to the growth of MUX Protocol?
Yeah, that's a good question. So regarding MUX protocol integration with Seller, basically Seller is providing us with cross-chain bridging support for our MUX tokens. So essentially our MUX ETH, MUX USD, etc., and also the MUX LP between the four chains, Arbitrum, BNB Chain, Avalanche, and Phantom. And as such, users are able to bridge the MUX tokens and MUX LP tokens to any of the supported chains for staking or to withdraw their assets. So in some instances, the MUX tokens will actually be able issued to users when there's not enough liquidity, and as such, users can actually redeem them on any supported chain with sufficient token reserves. So I think in terms of the partnership with them, all in all, it allows for a greatly increased interoperable user experience and ultimately like a better overall liquidity efficiency for the protocol as well.
So to continue, you all successfully conclude like 2 investment round last year. How does the team is intending to use the fund, particularly given the current bear market?
Yeah. So we did close a round last year, and in DeFi, the primary approach for obtaining liquidity is liquidity mining. In our opinion, it's quite unsustainable, especially when the API declines, and in a way, the rented liquidity will begin to slow down and ultimately drain. So, meanwhile, by issuing tokens as rewards for your users to use your platform, it kind also raises significant selling pressure on the token price. So instead of renting all the liquidity from external sources, essentially during the V4 upgrade, MUX Protocol implemented something called a protocol-owned liquidity mechanism. So essentially, the funds raised from the previous round were actually left relatively untouched. I think that's definitely a good thing for our project. And these funds will be used to seed the initial protocol-owned liquidity to just bootstrap liquidity within our MUX protocol platform.
Okay, I think that makes sense. So how about let's explore the MCP token in more details. Can you share like what's the token use case and what's the advantage of purchasing, holding, or even staking MCP token?
Yeah, so essentially now the token model is a lot more sustainable. We are not dependent on token emissions to support trading activity on our platform. And secondly, the upgraded tokenomics actually leverages on the V model. And as such, if you are buying to our MCB token and you stake it to get VMCB, or you provide liquidity and you purchase the MUX LP token, essentially what you will get as a user, as an you'll be able to share the protocol income that we are making and also the mining rewards as well.
Okay, so that is in terms of the token wise. I think we have heard a little bit more on what we can do in terms of purchasing and holding the token itself. While creating this token itself, in fact, if we jump a little bit on the tokenomics side, there were definitely like difficulties and barriers, and that's precisely why there's always room for improvement, room for upgrading. You know, what's the biggest difficulty that your team has encountered so far, and how did you all actually overcome that?
So for us, the greatest difficulty that we have encountered when building the token design was that in DeFi, all the APRs are high, and that's why a lot of DeFi platforms are able to attract users onto their platform. But at the same time, primarily, this is not sustainable. As I mentioned earlier, when the token inflation is high, essentially the selling pressure on your token is high as well. And therefore, learning from this, we actually created a more sustainable model to grow the protocol. So upon genesis of MUX Protocol, essentially we purchased MUX LP tokens for the protocol own liquidity that I mentioned earlier, with the funds that were raised from the previous round. And moving forward, 50% of the protocol income will go to contribute back to the protocol own liquidity. So as long as the platform is live, essentially what you're looking at is that the protocol own liquidity will grow bigger and bigger, and ultimately it will be hopefully self-sufficient, and we do not require a lot of major LPs to stick on our platform for us to be very effective as a platform as well.
Okay. In terms of the tokenomics side, will you be able to share a little bit more in regards to this aspect?
Sure. So MCB is still our main token. So users will be able to log MCB to receive VMUX, which entitles them to protocol income and MUX rewards. And then we have our 1 million MCB tokens that are reserved for future MUX vesting. And users can vest their MUX tokens into MCB over a 1 year period as well. So MUX is a token as well, but it's the protocol's non-transferable token reward. So users can earn MUX through holding VMUX or staking and providing liquidity via MUX LP. And MUX tokens can be utilized in two different options. So firstly, you can either stake MUX to obtain VMUX, or you can vest your MUX into MCB. So currently, the supply capacity for the MUX token is at 1 million. The daily emission is around 1,000. The supply of MUX tokens will decrease if they are vested into MCB, and the vesting process will take a 1 year period. So the MUX supply will not increase unless there's a related governance proposal that is initiated and passed. If the supply cap is voted to increase, then the change will take effect after a 14-day lock period.
That sounds great. So, Jaden, the last question that we have for you guys is, what are the long and short-term plans that MUX Protocol has in store for us? Maybe the short-term plans, you can share with us something that is upcoming, something that's exciting, and then long-term plans, whatever you guys see in the next maybe 2 to 3 years time.
Yeah, I think for the short-term plan is that we are currently looking to launch an aggregator, which will really solve some of the most important pain points within the perpetual swap industry, and we'll be sharing some exciting news on that really soon. So yeah, we really urge the community to keep a lookout. And in terms of the long-term plans, for MCDEX and now currently MUX Protocol, we have been around for a long period of time. So we are here to stay, be it during a bear market or during a bull market. So we'll continue building. And in terms of the long-term play, is that essentially what we are trying to build here is that we want to decentralize trading as much as possible in the long term. And I think with the current team and the experience within the team, we will be able to do that in the next 2 to 3 years.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Jaden. And it's definitely been a good and short one with you guys. If you have any, questions about MUX Protocol, everyone, you can send in your thoughts on the comments on our social media at ABCC. If not, thank you so much. Thank you, Jaden. Thank you, Alan, for your time.
Yes.
Thank you
Alan.
very
Thank you,
much.
Marcus.
Thank you,
Cheers.
Marcus. Thank you, Jaden.
The information contained in or provided from or through this podcast is not intended to be and does not constitute as financial advice, investment advice, trading advice, or any other form of advices. The information in this podcast is general in nature and is not specific to you, the users, or anyone else. You should not make any decision, be it financial, investment, trading, or otherwise, based on any of the information presented in this podcast without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or financial advisory. You understand that you are using any and all information shared in this podcast at your own risk. You are solely liable for any losses that you may incur from investing, and in no event shall we be liable for any losses which may be incurred while investing. Trading of cryptocurrencies is highly risky and may not be suitable for the general public. All opinions expressed by the program participants are solely their own current opinions and do not reflect the opinions of ABCC. Participants' opinions are based upon information they consider reliable. ABCC does not warrant the completeness or accuracy of such information and should not be relied upon as such.